All right, everyone. Welcome to this month's new feature recap. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of the new features that we released this past month and how they can benefit your firm and take a deep dive and answer a lot of your questions. But before we get started, let's wait for everyone to jump in. So go ahead and drop in the chat if the chat is working. Let's confirm. Is the chat working? Can you guys comment in the chat right now? Perfect. Okay, people can comment in the chat. So drop in where you're calling in from. Let's see. We got Vancouver, Toronto, St. Louis, Missouri. Oh, there's a lot. I can't read all these. Canada, Atlanta, Florida, South Carolina, Ohio, New York. This is awesome. Oh, there's a lot of people on this call. Very engaging. Texas, Inglewood, Florida, Edmonton. Okay, we got our head of marketing is in Edmonton. Seattle, California, San Jose. Nice. Buffalo, New York. Okay, people from all over. That's great. So we've given about a minute or two for everyone to join. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm really excited this month to talk about some of the new features that we released this past month because we were pretty busy. We have released more, almost double the amount of updates than we typically release. It was a busy month for us, and it's going to be a busy quarter going forward. We have a lot of really exciting stuff on the roadmap. So the first thing I want to talk about is our new Zapier integration. So it was in beta testing about a month ago. Now it is fully live for our customers to use. The benefits of Zapier, if you don't know about it, is it allows other apps to integrate really easy with thousands of other apps. So with this new integration, you can actually integrate Financial Sense now with 5,000 different or more different apps. There's a lot of different things you can do with it, right? So some of the use cases are maybe when a client signs a proposal in Practice Ignition, Go Proposal, Cognito Forms, or even like a Google Doc, right, or Adobe Sign, it will automatically trigger something to happen in our app. So it could proposal sign, create new client in Financial Sense. And soon, this is coming really soon because we're improving this integration more. Maybe a proposal is signed, it creates the client in Financial Sense, and it creates the work based on the type of proposal signed. So it could create the monthly bookkeeping work and the onboarding project in Financial Sense automatically. There's also other things you could do with it, like maybe when you got a new client in Financial Sense, it updates your CRM, like HubSpot, or it adds that client to your newsletter, like MailChimp, or when a new client's added in Financial Sense, it creates a client folder in Dropbox, Google Drive, SharePoint, or your document management system you use. So there's so many different things you can do. There's thousands of different automations, but to kind of show this, I thought I might show this today, but we actually had one of our customers. You may know her. Her name is Nio Carter-Gray. She created a video and shared how she's using the Zapier integration now in Financial Sense. So I'm going to share my screen and show this video so you can actually see it in action. Let me pull it up. Now, real quick. Screen. Okay. So
I spy with my little eye.
real quick, can you guys hear her talking? I don't know if the audio is going to come through on the screen share. I just want to confirm. Were you guys able to hear that? I paused it. Okay, you can. All right. So now let's play this video and listen in.
A new feature for Financial Sense. Y'all know me and know I love my automations. Well, did you know Financial Sense is now on the Zapier platform? You can connect Financial Sense to over 6,000 apps. Want to know how I'm going to use this? I'm excited because now I can have a brand new customer added to my Financial Sense platform when they fill out a form. Want to see me do it? Watch this. All right, I've saved us some time by connecting my Cognito form as well as the Financial Sense beta app in Zapier. And so you will see the events that we can do currently in Zapier for Financial Sense are create a client, create a contact, or update a contact. So we're going to create a new client here. Just going to hit continue. continue. I've added all that information here, and then we are going to go ahead and test this step. Bada boom, bada bing. A client was sent to Financial Sense. Let's come over here to Financial Sense, type in that name, and there you have it. A new client has been created. Are you excited about this? I know I sure am.
All right.
I spy.
All right, perfect. So that is how you can use an example of how you can use Financial Sense. Once a form or proposal is signed, how it can create that client in Financial Sense. And there's a lot of really cool things you can do. Like you could build on that integration, and you could say, when this proposal is signed, create this client in Financial Sense, and then create a folder for that client in Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever document management, and then also add them to your newsletter. So you can really integrate all your apps, keep your client data in sync, but reduce a lot of that admin work that really slows your team down. Any questions? Drop them in the chat if you have questions about Zapier integration. Now, one thing you might be wondering is, how do I set this up, right? So to actually set up your Zapier integration, I'm going to drop this link. Make sure and guide you through it. We've created a little article. So you can find this in our help center, or if you ask support, they can share this with you. And it just gives you ideas of how you can use a Zapier integration. It tells you how to go to set it up. So it's not right now in Financial Sense. If you go to it, if you go to integrations, right, there isn't going to be like a Zapier option, right? We're going to add that, but realistically, you can't set it up in Financial Sense. You have to set it up on Zapier. So as you can see in this article, it says go to Zapier. You're going to go to Zapier, and then here you can actually, if you have an account, log in. If you don't, create one, and then connect with all the different apps. And we have a lot of use case examples in this guide. So you can see, like, if you want to do proposal to new client, how to set it up for all the different apps. So we have like a walkthrough step-by-step on how to actually set it up. So you can be helped guided through that process. All the different proposal apps, here's how you do it. Like if you want to create folders and document management systems and other things we're working on. So we're creating more guides for how you can use it in your firm. So you have use cases. I'm going to drop this real quick inside our chat, the link to this help article if you guys want to look at it. So there's someone that wants the projects to be created as well. That is coming. We should have that soon. To really do that, one of the first things we're going to have to do and release is default settings on templates. So right now, when you have a template in Financial Sense, you have to create it. You have to add in like the due date, how you want it to recur, what is the accounting period, and all this other information. We want to create default settings on your templates. So when someone creates work, it's automatically going to fill in that information based off the settings. Once we have that, then we can add the Zapier trigger to create work. So when let's say the proposal is signed, it's going to create that client and then create that work for that client based off the proposal type. And since we have the settings, it will already have all the information, so you don't have to go back and edit it after the fact. And that's why we're waiting to release that, but that will be released this quarter. So one other thing we're working on with Zapier, which I think is going to be exciting. So like if you guys look at this guide, it's too much, you can always reach out to support. They can hop on a call and help you set Zapier up. But one thing we're going to be releasing is Zapier templates. So inside Zapier, you'll see these right here. Like we're working on releasing a lot of these, but we already have one for Ignition, for example. So create client in Financial Sense when a proposal is accepted in Ignition. You'll be able to come here, hit try it, and then it's automatically going to set up that Zap for you, so you don't have to do all that yourself. It makes it a lot easier, and really all you have to do is log into your Ignition and Financial Sense account. So we are working on ways to make this easier for some of you that aren't used to Zapier or just aren't Zapier experts yet and want to be able to quickly set it up. So more exciting things to come, a lot of improvements on the Zapier integration. If you have any questions, please, about Zapier, drop it in. I'm going to move on to our next update that happened this past month, but I'll come back and revisit it. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is e-signature. This is one that's been wildly requested by a lot of our customers. It's exciting to release this. So now you have the ability to request signatures for documents from inside Financial Sense. So if you want to send a client proposal to be signed, or if you want them to sign a tax return or other type of document, you can send that document for signature from within Financial Sense. Why do you want to do this, right? So there's a few reasons. One is it's just easier to request. You want to be doing this all in one place. It'll also leverage the contacts in your database. So the integration is with Adobe Sign. And usually if you have Adobe Sign, you have to put the contact in of who you want to send it to. But since all that information already lives in our system, it's automatically going to populate those contacts. So you don't have to put them in there. Third is it's automatically going to store the signed copy in Financial Sense. So you have that record organized on the work that it was related to, in the client's profile, and on the client portal for the client to see in the future. So it keeps those in areas where your team and clients can find those signed copies. And it syncs with your Adobe Sign account. So let me show you this example. Let's go to like this tax return. So maybe we filed a tax return and we want to send it to have it signed by the client. Here, this is an example of it's already been completed. So I sent this for signature. When it was signed, it brought back the return copy. So this is the signed copy of the tax return automatically being attached to it once signed. The client did not have to do this, right? They signed it and then attached the signed copy here. And if you can see in the portal, this is where the client would go. They can see the signed copy as well. So it lives on the portal for the client to view. And it lives here for your team to view. Also, not only is it stored on the work, but if you go to the client's profile and go to files, client task files, it will be stored here as well, or it'll be stored on, it's one of these. I don't know which one it is, but it'll be stored here. So it's also stored on the client profile. So it's stored in places where your team can easily access those files. I also want to show you real quickly how to do it, how it works. So this is, I'm going to use this as an example walkthrough for the signature. So now on client tasks, you'll see the request signature button. So you click request signature. Here you're going to upload the file. So I'm going to drag I'm using a proposal in this example. So I'm going to drag the proposal here. It's now uploaded that document. Next, you want to select the contacts. You want to sign this document. It can be one or multiple people. I'm just going to send it to one of my emails. So Sharam's going to want to sign this. Then we're going to go to Adobe. Click upload to Adobe. You might have to manually direct. Click that. So then you're going to sign into your Adobe account if you're not already signed in. It's going to log me in. Continue. So this is it's a blank example proposal, right? Yours would have more context, but here now I can drop where I want them to sign, initial, all those different things, right? And then once you've done that, you can hit send. And now it's been sent. So what's going to happen now in Financial Sense, you're going to see on here, this proposal now has one signature pending. So if it was multiple people that were signing, it could have 2 or 3 signatures pending, but you can see what's pending. And it's automatically going to change the status of the work to waiting on client. Once it's signed, again, it's going to look like this. It's going to no longer be pending. It's going to have the signed copy, and it will change this tag automatically to info received. So you'll know when you can track all the work that's been signed and still is waiting on signature. And that's the e-signature. A few updates that are coming with the e-signature is KBA. So we're working on KBA signatures for some people that need those for certain types of documents, as well as ability to do signatures from other areas in the app. So maybe like you're on the client's profile in the document management section and you want them to sign a certain document, you'll be able to click here and request signature. So you don't have to do it in client tasks. If you want to learn more about e-signature, we did write an article on it, how to set it up and how to use it and how it works. I'm going to drop that. That is also on our help center. You can reach out to our support team or go to our help center to find that. I'm also going to drop that into here. So one question someone asked is, do we need an Adobe Sign account? Yes, you do have to have an Adobe Sign account to use this. But you can set it up. I believe they have different types of pricing plans. Like, you can pay monthly for unlimited. It's like $10, $15 a month. Or you can do it by signature. So like I think it's $1.25 per signature. So it is an Adobe Sign integration. So you do have to use it with Adobe. Okay, so e-signature, we've covered that. Again, if there's any other questions, please drop them in the chat. Let's go on to our next integration, our next recent feature release. So this one's an exciting one. Now you can trigger customized emails to clients based on when tasks are completed. So let me show you how this works. So let's go into this one here. I think I've already, so like, sorry about that. It's like that is a weather alert. Okay. So what this does is based on now when certain tasks are completed, you can automatically trigger a customized email to be sent to your clients. So let's say in this example, maybe when you file the tax return with an IRS, you want to update the client to let them know that this has been filed automatically. There's a lot of different use cases you can use for this, right? So maybe like when a certain task is completed or milestone in financial sense, you could send a calendar link for a client to schedule a meeting for you automatically. Or you could send a survey. Maybe after you complete the work, you want a survey to be sent to your clients to get feedback on how the work was and their experience. There's so many different things you can do with this, right? So, because it's customizable. So let me show you how to set this up. So file tax return with the IRS. In here, this used to be tag automations. Now it's task automations. So you'll add a task automation. When this task is completed, select what you want. So you can change the status or tag on the project or send an email to the client. Now you'll need to choose what email, right? So we already have some here, templates that we could go off of. But let's create one. So let's call this template, or so new template. Let's call this template tax file and update, right? So, hey, and you can, the cool thing is we also have placeholders, right? So you can autofill information that is customized to the client. Hey, client name. So we are notifying you that we have, let's just take out this, that we have file here, say 1040 tax return. No, if you have any questions, right? You can save that template. Hold on. Oh, I didn't have a subject line. Okay. Okay. Save. So now when this task is completed, it'll send this email and now we want to select which clients. So there's multiple contacts. You can send it to one. So maybe we want to send it to Shram and George. Those are the partners and we want them, are the people we want to know. Hit save. And then now you can see this and then you can preview it. So you want to see what it looks like. This is what it's going to look like when it's sent to your client. What's cool is, as you saw, is we created a template for that email thing. So you can use that same email for multiple projects. So if I wanted to go into another project, another tax 1040, I could come here, add this task automation, and use that 1040 tax filing update and send to these contacts. So you can reuse those emails and those templated emails. But since, again, we had the placeholders where it can client name, firm name, company name, it will automatically update on a client by client basis. You can even use them in templates, right? So if you want to set them up on your templates, that's also possible. So when you create those templates for future clients, that automation is already set in place. Again, there's so many different ways you can use that. You can use it to update them on the status of work. You can send surveys to request feedback. You can automatically send meeting links for them to schedule meetings. There's a million different things you can do. If it's like the onboarding process, right? It could be certain resources, so many different ways you can use it. This feature is part of our new scale plan, by the way. So you do have to upgrade to the scale plan to get this new automation. So these emails do not show up in sent emails. But I will say this. One thing that we are working on is since we have an email integration, we are working on the ability where if you integrate your email Financial Sense, the client tasks and these types of emails will start coming from your email versus the no reply at financialsense.com email. This just makes it higher, less spam, right? So less chance of it going into spam. Your client recognizes it a little bit more. They trust it, right? And it'll show up in your sent inbox. So that is something we are working on. Okay. So that was another exciting feature. We've got a lot of really exciting, good feedback on. I want to talk about this a little bit. I get really excited about this tasks automations, right? So change the status of work, right? Send an email to a client. There's so many different things we can do here that we plan to expand on. So maybe when this task is completed, it's create a project. So when this task is completed, create a new project for the client. Or when this task is completed, send an invoice to the client. Or when this task is completed, because we'll have all these integrations, create a new folder in Google Drive, or send this message in Slack, or like there's so much that we can do here to build on this, to automate a lot of these little things that you're doing in your firm to keep things from slipping through the cracks, but save you time. So this is really just the beginning of something that that we're really excited about, that's going to grow, and because we really want to provide more automations to you guys, and it's going to really allow us to do that. So let's go. And speaking on automations, I think this is live too. Clients. Oh no, so that's not. I'll come back to that one. There's a lot of automations we really want to do in Financial Sense. Like, for example, we talked about Zapier and the template settings. So when a zap happens, like proposal sign, it creates a client in Financial Sense and the work for client. But we also want to be able to do that internally. So let's say you could set that automation up in FC to where when you add a new, let's say, bookkeeping client, it will automatically create the bookkeeping work and onboarding work for that client. And it will create all those folder structure inside Financial Sense for your bookkeeping clients. So there's a lot of really cool things we're working on in terms of automations to help save you guys a lot of time. Let's see, there's a question. Okay, so someone's loving that. Kelly's loving the task automations. Okay, another thing is for the Canadian firms out there. To keep you guys in compliance, you can now store all your documents on Canadian servers. This is great for the Canadian firms to keep them in compliance. So if you're a new user signing up, it's automatically switched, right? We geolocate, and then we know like you're in Canada. I think you select your region and it will put you on the Canadian servers automatically. But if you've currently been using Financial Sense and you are in Canada and you want your documents to be stored on the Canadian servers going forward, you can do this by going to Settings, Company, and then picking your storage settings. So United States or Canada. So that's very simple, straightforward, but I just wanted to share that. That's great for the Canadian firms to keep them in compliance. Let's see, there's a question. Okay. This next one has been, I think, widely requested because it does cause confusions. So now when you update a past recurring project, you can automatically push those updates to future recurrences. So just to clarify, before, like if you wanted changes to a recurring project to flow forward, you needed to make it to the most recent recurrence. So let's say you have a recurring monthly bookkeeping project for January, February, and March. If you made a change to February, it wouldn't flow forward to March, and then the future recurrences would not. But if you made the change to March, it would flow forward to future recurrences because it's the most recent recurred project in that sequence. Now you have the ability, if you made the change to January or February, to push it to all the future recurrences. So let's look at this example, right? So here you can see I have 4 test tasks on this recurring duplicate test. If we go to like one of the, so this is for July, if we go to August, you can see I don't have that 4th one. So like now that I have this new task, and maybe I add another task, something else, I've made all these changes, and it could be on task, it could be a resource, it could be like who's assigned what, it could be really anything that you change in this project, right? The descriptions on the tasks and details. So then what you're going to want to do is go to project details, actions, project details, and hit update future recurrences. It'll tell you how many future recurrences there are. So it's saying this will delete the 4 future recurrences and recreate them with the newest updates from the project. So one important thing to note is if you use this feature, it's not just updating them, it's actually deleting and recurring all those projects. So if you have comments or important information on there that's already added, you want to be careful because you will lose that if you do this. Now you can restore them, but you will lose that information. So it's going to delete and recur those 4 recurrences that are already created. Now, one thing to know is when you do this, it's going to delete them, right? And the way our system works, it creates the future recurrence every like 30 minutes. So you're not going to see them immediately right away. It's going to take, depending on how many recurrences, so there's 4 here, it's going to take 2 hours for all those future recurrences to show again. But it will recur them with the current updates. So this is a great feature. I know like a lot of people have struggled with this, but it's going to help keep your things more up to date and make it easier to update your workflows. Now, one thing we are working on is this is a little hidden, right? You have to make the update. Remember, go to actions, project details, hit this button. So one thing we're going to do here soon is when you do make an update to a project and there are already future recurrences, you will get a pop-up that will say, hey, do you want to push this to the future recurrences? So you and your team don't have to remember to click through those steps. We haven't just set that up yet, but we're working on it. So that's going to make it a little bit more seamless and make sure everything is up to date. So we got some questions. A lot of love for this one. This is one I think a lot of people have struggled with. People are deleting recurrences, recreating them, and it's causing the workflows to mess up. So I'm really excited about this. Okay, on to the next one. Service items and time tracking reports. This was for the time trackers. Now in reports, if you click into one, you'll see service items listed here in the project details. So you have a little bit more description on what service item it's related to. That's pretty simple and straightforward. Advanced search for client notes. So if we go into a client, let's go to Adeline Collins. We have a lot of notes here. Previously, you could only search by title, right? So you can only see like search by these things here, but maybe you want to search by the body of the note, right? You can now do that. So like here we have like new procedure. So let's take this and search by. Now, when I search by something that was in the body, it's actually going to show up here. And I think, let me check. It's actually a smart search. So I don't have to spell it exactly right, right? So if I make a few misspellings, it's still going to pick it up, right? Let's see how weird I can get with this. Okay, you got to get it somewhat close, but it doesn't have to be exact, right? So it makes it easier to find notes from past client communications and meetings. So there's a question from Angela. When you were on the workflow screen a minute ago, it showed your client task once you're completed. Mine doesn't do that. Is that a setting? Okay. So this is a really good question. So someone is saying they don't see this, right? So about a month or so ago, we released a new update where you can actually see your team communication and client tasks from this view. So it just gives you more visibility, right? Like, oh, there's a conversation going on here that I haven't read because it's red. I can click that and I can view that team combo. So you can better collaborate. And there's also the client tasks. So from here, not only can you track what is the progress of my team's work on this, like how far is my team on this project, but you can see how far is my client. Have they completed all the tasks we need to move forward from this view? So if you want, and if you click it, it takes you into that client task, right, to see it. So if you want that, you can go to settings here. So this little icon, and customize it. So you'll have to select this client task column so it gets displayed. So just click the gear icon and select client tasks. Yeah, so when you read those comments, it will automatically mark it on red. You have to read it though, like click in to mark it red. So lastly, is on a client profile, you now have this filter. So we had a lot of people like, they don't just want to see like, because this is like your client profile. This is where you can track everything with your client. A lot of people just didn't want to see the open work. They wanted to see the recently completed work in this little project section. So you can actually filter for closed now and see the closed projects and open projects. Angela, so if you're just not seeing that filled, what I would do is reach out to customer support. They could see if there's potentially a bug and they could get that resolved. You can do that by clicking the support chat icon here and messaging our team. Okay, so those are some of the major new features we released in the past month. E-signature, Zapier, and the email triggers are the biggest ones in my opinion, and the ability to push to future recurrences. Now, I want to take a second. So if you have any questions about those, drop them in. But I want to take a second and tell you about some of the exciting new things we have coming this next month and quarter. Because there's a lot we're working on right now. So some of those things include client resources, which this will be released this week. So people went bananas over the resources in the projects, right? Because now they can link to all the different resources that their team may need to get their work done. You can link to like QuickBooks Online, different apps. You can link to SOP documents, Google Drive, Dropbox, anything your team may need. You know, it's all one click, right? People have also been asking for this though on the client's profile. So they want to be able to have the client's profile and have a resources section. And actually, let me see if I can pull this up. It's on demo. This should be released, I think, this week. Yeah, so you can see it here. We have the resources section now in demo, right? This is a demo account. You guys can't see this. Here on, there's an update that just came through, on the client's profile. So you'll be able to add those same client resources inside the client's profile for your team to access that may not be related to specific work, but just the client in general. So that's a really popular by demand. That's coming, I think, this week, as it's already on demo and should be going live potentially tonight. Other awesome feature is the ability to customize client tasks, right? So a lot of people for a while, let me get out of the demo account. A lot of people for a while have been wanting to customize the email that we send for the client requests. So this email, right? We're working on this month to release the ability to do that. So you could say whatever you want to say in here on the request that's being sent to the client. You can customize it. So that's exciting. File sharing, we're hoping to release this month. This month. So ability for in the client's profile, where you see all these files and documents, you could say, let me move this chat. I want to share this folder with my client of all their bookkeeping documents. Or maybe I want to share the month of April, right? Or maybe I just want to share a specific document. And what's going to happen is now in the portal, you're going to see documents. Like, so it's actually, let me see if I can find the design real quick. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek. Hmm. Let's see. I think this is it. Awesome. So this is a little sneak peek of what it's going to look like. So basically the portal is going to change, right? So what's right now is this view is going to turn into something that looks a little like this. So they'll be able to see the requests and the folders and documents that you shared with them. They'll be able to click this documents tab, and then they'll be able to see those folders. They can download and view them. And you'll be even able to have the ability to have them upload documents to those folders. So it really creates a more full-featured client portal and folder file sharing for your clients. So now your clients have one place to go to see the requests, but also old archived documents and reports that you may want them to have access to, like to sign proposals, right? They don't want to maybe have to dig through all the projects to find them. So that is an exciting feature working on, and a lot of integration. So this quarter, we're working on a lot of integrations. I don't know if you're in our user group, but if you saw, we just asked what to integrate with next. Looks like it's going to be Google Drive. So we really want to go deep on making sure Financial Sense is tight integrations with everything in your tech stack. So like, how would Google Drive work, for example, right? So we go back to Financial Sense. We want to, in projects, we don't want to just make you have to manually link to QuickBooks Online, right? And manually link to Dropbox on every work item. So if you integrate with QuickBooks or Google Drive, there will be an app section where you can see those apps. You can click and access the QuickBooks file for that client in one click, or your team will be able to, so they can see the QBO information. But also, like if it's Google Drive, they'll be able to access certain folders from your Google Drive through that integration. So now, because at the end of the day, to get work done, it's not just knowing what I need to do and how to do it, right? Like, this is what I need to do. This is how I need to do it. But you also need the information to do that. And we try to do our best to make most of that information live inside Financial Sense, right? Because like you have the documents here, right? Or you have, the client's information. But at the end of the day, like not everything can live in FC. So we want to be able to integrate with the apps where that information may be, because you may be using something else like Google Drive for document management. So being able to integrate with document management so your team can still access that information in one click, really creating that hub for your team. So when you hire someone new, they don't have to learn where all this information lives across 12 different apps. All they have to know is they just have to go to Financial Sense to begin their work. And they can access everything from Financial Sense, whether it's in our system or not, to get their work done. And that's how you keep your firm organized at scale, right? That's how, as you grow and hire new team members and take on more clients, you can keep your firm more organized, because your team has one place to go, right? A single source of truth for all the information they need to get their work done. And that's why we're betting big on integrations. So you're going to see a lot of those coming out, Google Drive, Practice Ignition, Listio, SharePoint, Dropbox, all those integrations coming out. They won't all be released this next quarter, but like it's a big focus on it. So like the next 6 months, you're going to be seeing a lot of those integrations come out. So we do have a Smart Vault integration live as well. I mean, if you wanted to, yes, the file sharing could technically replace Smart Vault. But it really depends what your needs are, right? Smart Vault's going to be, here's the thing, even though we will have file sharing, right? We still have integrations with Google Drive, Dropbox, Smart Vault, because we believe in the option to choose. We're not going to be the best document management portal. Smart Vault has a lot of other features that we will never have, that make them the best at that, or Google Drive, right? But if you don't need something that robust and you do want to consolidate your apps into one place, we'll give you that option. But if you don't, and you still want to use Google Drive or Smart Vault because they have certain functionality we won't have, we want to integrate with them. So no matter where you stand, whether it's all in one or best of breed, you always have the option to choose. So if that answers your question, Cindy. But yeah, so that is, the new recent updates from this past month. And that is a little bit of a sneak peek into what's coming this next month and this quarter. There's a lot of other exciting things I didn't mention, but I mean, we're really pumped about it. I mean, we're constantly improving the product. And I really want to thank everyone here that is on this call, but also in our community that has been giving us this feedback, because none of this would be possible without you guys telling us what to build next. You guys guide the product roadmap. So if you're not already voting on the product roadmap, you're not already sharing feedback on how we can make financial sense better, please do. Because we're not accountants, but we lean on our accountants to know what to build next. But leaving that, like, if there's any last questions, drop them in now. If not, we can end the webinar. Okay. There's no other questions. Thank you everyone for joining. And be sure to tune back in next month for some of the exciting features that we're going to be releasing. Take care and have a great week.